Good evening, everyone, and I know we've got some newcomers that came in since we did an introduction, so I'll reintroduce myself. I am Bianca Blake, the founder of White Rose Marketing Solutions. We're a strategic marketing company, and today I will be talking about the 9 elements of building a winning marketing strategy. So what is marketing? Anybody know what marketing is? Or what does it mean to you? Let me just ask that question. I know we've got a graphic designer in here. I'm assuming you have done some things with marketing. Anyone worked in the marketing space? No one.
Yeah,
yes, go ahead. There you go. What does marketing mean to you?
It's not one-dimensional, is it really? It's many-faceted, but it's about communicating your product to the market.
Absolutely. Anybody else have anything to add to that?
I would say finding a need and positioning your product to meet.
Positioning your product to meet the need, communicating to your customers what it is that you're offering them. All of these are right answers. There's marketing. Underneath the umbrella of marketing, there's so many things there are so many capabilities that exist, right? So you've got graphic design, is you need to communicate visually. You've got, public relations, as you need to communicate to the public about what's happening. You've got advertising. You've got quite a few things that are happening, and I'm going to focus today on marketing strategy, right, which is the glue that I believe holds it all together. So these are going to be the 9 things that we're talking about today. The first 3 are highlighted because there are more business strategies that will help you set a foundation that you can then put a solid marketing plan over top of. So the 9 areas. Number 1, what's going on? So here we'll talk about getting to know the space where you're operating. What is your company, your competitors, your collaborators, et cetera? What are you doing, right? And what are you bringing to the marketplace? As Renita mentioned, the audacity that you as an entrepreneur will be able to bring something to the market that will revolutionize or at least evolve us into a place that we're not now. You have to know what marketplace are you going to be putting that within. How do you make money? The next one. How do you make it? How do you make your money? Business models, right? Then what is your business objective? And we'll talk more about that. Translating your business objective into a marketing objective. So now we're moving into our marketing portion of the plan. Then you create the plan. After you create the plan, you test, you learn, you scale, and you evolve. I will point out here that most people, when we talk about marketing, or at least I find with a lot of my clients, focus in on this bit about scaling. This is the advertising. This is the talking to the customer. This is the sexy, exciting, advertisement, the pretty glossy ad, the magazine ad, the photo shoot, all of those things. That's in that scale. But you need to know what works before you dump all of that money into an advertising campaign, because once it's spent, you would never get that money back. For sure. All right. So let's take a look at this photo here. What do you see? Anybody? What is it?
Duck.
It's a duck.
A rabbit.
Someone sees a rabbit. Who sees a rabbit?
I see both.
Who sees a duck?
I see both.
You see both. Okay. So yeah, it's a rabbit and it's a duck and it's both. It's a matter of perspective, right? So in the same way as this sort of a visual puzzle is the marketplace. Every company that's starting is starting in an existing marketplace. If you're starting a finance-based business, if you're starting a technology-based business, if you're starting a consultancy, there are already folks out there in finance and in technology and in consulting and in fashion and in beauty. So the question is, what is going on? Who are your competitors, right? Who are your collaborators? Are your competitors also your collaborators? In some industries, that is the case. It's such a small industry that you all are competing with each other for customers, but they offer a service that you sort of need in order for you. So you have to piece together the marketplace and figure out where within this marketplace you are going to be operating, where you are going to be improving upon what is already on the market. And where your services fit, the beginning and end scope, if you will, of the products and services that you're offering. A great tool to use in this stage of planning is the SWOT analysis that Renita mentioned. There's also the Porter's 5 Forces analysis, which you can kind of search a little bit more and go deeper into that. It talks about your competitors and your collaborators, etc. So the question here is, ask yourself, what is going on in my marketplace and where is my product or service going to fit over top of that, right? So that's the first thing. And we'll try to power through the first 3 boring business things before we get to marketing. How do you make your money? As an entrepreneur, how many of us are in business to make money? I'm putting both hands up. Okay. That's the whole point, right? You know, you write a book, you want to sell it, you want to make money, you're a graphic designer, we have clients, we want to make money. Whatever it is that's our idea, we're passionate about the thing that we're going to be selling or the service that we're going to be bringing to the market. But ultimately, we need to make money, whether that's to support our lifestyle or whether that's to make our generational wealth for our legacy, all of the different whys. A stepping stone to that why is making money, right? So there's quite a few different business models. You could create a product and sell it. You could create a website and drive traffic to it, and then there's some advertising there. You could create a product and give it away for free, and then have people hire you to speak about it. I mean, there's all these different ways of making money. But the point is here is it is important for you as an entrepreneur to know where your revenue is coming from, to know what your margins are. So, Mark, how many people are familiar with the whole financial statements, profit and loss, income statement? So there's revenue at the top, and then you spend money, and then there's profit at the bottom. It's important for you to understand out of every pound you make, how much is left over after you spend all of the money that is necessary to make that pound. If you make a pound and it costs you a pound to make that pound, you did not make any money. It might feel like you make money because you have the money in your pocket, but once you pay all of your bills, you will have no money in your pocket. And that is a hobby. That is not a business. Okay? So it's very important to know how you're making your money. The reason why I bring this up as a marketing expert is because several times I have clients that come to me and like, Bianca, you know, I'm really excited about this thing here, and I want to sell 1 million of them, and, you know, I need your help. I'm like, great. So how do you make money? So I start there, right? Because I do not want to be the marketing consultant that helps, you know, that does a wonderful job marketing a product that has negative, what I like to call negative ROI, or every time you sell one, you lose money. Because that doesn't mean the marketing program will be amazing, but your business will not grow that way. So it's very important that before you set your marketing plan in motion, that you are clear that the thing that you are communicating and the product or service that you're selling at the end of the day will make your company money. It sounds so obvious, but so many people overlook this. So I thought we would pause and take a moment to give a nod to the business model. The next one, what is your business objective? What is the point of your business? Are you, and I don't mean what are you selling or what are you offering to the marketplace? The question is, what is the long-term goal of your company? Are you going to be building something that you would like to be acquired by a large company? Do you want to be a freelancer so that you're all, you know, you work, you get paid, you don't work, you don't get paid. So it's lots of flexibility. You may not need a lot of employees or overhead, but that's a different business model, right? That's a different objective. Do you want to run a sort of small business where you're kind of like your family business and everybody's in it together, and you have something for your friends and family to kind of, you know, you're employing folks within your community? Do you want to build an enterprise, like a huge company that eventually will, you know, have a listing on one of these stock exchanges, and you're kind of being like all of the fancy magazines and things like that? Is that what you want? Because the way that you bring your business to market as a freelancer and the way you bring your business to market as an enterprise is very different. And there's no need for you to spend money on the items that you need to build an enterprise if your goal is to be a freelancer. There's a very different communication strategy for each one of those.
You might elaborate on the difference in what you want to.
Absolutely. So a freelance person is someone who has a very specific skill. It could be someone that's like a graphic designer is a good example, or someone who does copywriting, or maybe a photographer or a videographer. So, and to be clear, you can do any of these things in an enterprise or a freelance, but I'm just giving some examples here. So if you're a photographer and you're a freelancer, that means you might have a website up and people can contact you and book you to do some photo services. So you go and do the photo services and you charge them and you make your money. If you're available to take the pictures, you get paid for it. If you're not, you don't. And so your communication strategy would be a little bit different than if you were a photo company, like a company, say like a Kodak. Back in the day, they were a large photo company, in America anyway. I'm not sure how large they were over here, but a really large photo enterprise company where you're building infrastructure and you've got, you know, inventory and you're training employees and you've got buildings that, you know, that you're buying. And that's, in that case, you may have, you know, a PR firm that's working to make sure that the public understands that you are innovating in the photography space. That's a very different communication strategy than a freelancer who just needs the community to know that they are there to do wedding photography or event photography. And so what you wouldn't want to do as a freelancer is buy services that are appropriate for an enterprise if that's not what you need, because that's not going to pay back. Because if you get an entire community excited, an entire industry excited about your services, and you get 1 million people ringing your phone, and you just have like the cell phone in your pocket, you don't have like a huge group of people answering the phones and they can't meet the demand, the money that you spent on that service is not going to be able to pay back because you don't have the capacity to meet the demand that you've created, right? So it's important that you understand what your business model is, because people, the person that's selling those PR services will sell the PR services to the freelancer or to the small business person. There will be some waste there, but that's not their problem. They'll cash their check and keep moving. But you're looking for tactics and ultimately strategies that are going to add value to your business. That's the activity of marketing, is I'm putting this communication out to educate the market, and I want them, as a result of that education, to come and engage with my business.
So, metaphorically speaking, as a corporation, it's about creating infrastructure, metaphorically speaking. Yeah, so...
Well, the communication piece of it is there's a lot more. Yes, there's a lot more of the infrastructure needed to do mass communications for enterprises and communications that you would not necessarily need as a small business, a family-run business, or a freelance. But if you are building a enterprise, then even as a small business, you would need to be building that infrastructure at the beginning. A smaller version of it, but you would need to be mindful of you're building for the future. But if that's not your future, then you don't need to build that. So it's important to know what the anticipated outcome of your business model is going to be, right? So now let's take that business objective to your, was it Nathaniel? I'm sorry, what was it? Yes. Daniel, sorry. I'm really good at renaming people. Shane. Daniel, thanks, Daniel. Now you would take that and create a marketing objective. So that was great that you asked that question. So we kind of sort of covered this. So now that you know that I want the entire world to know about my company because I'm building this huge enterprise and I've got all these investors, and now you can translate that into a marketing objective, which is how many people do I want to talk to? Who are those people? And you can kind of start to like create out of the confusion of this is sort of the business objective. That's what marketers are like. Well, what does that mean? What are we supposed to do? Where do we go? Do we need PR? And is it a digital? Do we need social media? Do we need newspaper? Like all these different things that we can do. What are we supposed to be doing? So now you could translate that into a very clear-cut marketing objectives, something that would include, how much of your service you want to sell to who by when. Like, so I would like to sell 1,000 iPhones to, entrepreneurs in London by the end of the week. So that's very clear cut. So now that you have that as an objective, you can do some tactics that will enable you to do that, right? But that marketing objective has to come from your business objective, or else, you might end up going down a path that's not exactly going to pay back. And that's the whole important thing about marketing. You want it to pay back. So now that we have our marketing objective, we're going to create our marketing plan. So the next slide is actually quite busy, but there are 4 things that I wanted to talk about with regards to the marketing plan. The first one is our positioning statement. So the pyramid, it's a little bit small, but I'll put my email address up there and I can email you some of these templates. The pyramid there is what we like to call a positioning tool. The positioning tool helps you as a company explain, it helps you create a document that makes it very clear what you're offering. How many people in here are familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Yes? Okay, one person. Okay, a few people. So I'll explain it a bit. So this talks about, as humans, the things that we need, I guess, our motivations is what motivates us. It's a marketing tool that kind of helps us understand what motivates people. And in the same way, this positioning pyramid does that with your brand. It starts at the bottom with basic building blocks of your brand and ladders all the way up to your brand's equity. So at the bottom, we have what are your brand's attributes, which is what exactly do you sell? So for someone who's offering, an iPhone, it's like, well, it's a phone, And then you ladder up to your functional benefits. What does that do for my customer? And then you have, how is that different from everyone else on the marketplace? And what is your personality, and so on and so forth, all the way up to your equity. So these large brands like Coca-Cola or like Nike, they've been on the market for so long that when they first started, they talk about their attributes. They talk about it's a running shoe or it's cola. But you would never see a Coca-Cola ad anymore that tells you about the amount of fizz. And we have 24% more fizz than our leading competitor. They don't talk about their attributes anymore because everyone knows what they are. So they've laddered all the way up to talking about their equity, which is probably happiness or something like that, right? And so for us, even though we may be smaller businesses, we need to know, what is it that we're telling our customers? What are our attributes? What is it that we're offering? Why is that different? So this is your building block of your communications. And quickly, we've got a persona statement over here. So this is the question of, who is your customer? So through market research and through, sometimes it's gut feel and just doing business, you learn a lot about your customers and you're able to interact with them better once you know them. And so this is an example of a persona that we did for one of our clients, and you learn about them. You learn what their lives are, what their demographic information might be, geographic information about them, and it enables you to be able to make sure that the advertisements or communication pieces you put out are more relevant to them. What do you tell them? Now that you know what you're offering and who you want to talk to, what is the key message? What are you telling them? So this is an example. You're not meant to see it, but the example here is meant to say that a lot of brands have lots of communication. And there's this exercise that I like to do where, if you have two people and you throw them like 3 or 4 tennis balls at a time, they're not likely to catch any of them because there's like a lot of stuff coming at them. But if you throw them one, they're more likely to catch it, right? So one of the interesting things about communications is that we as individuals, we like to put everything into communication. We want to tell you everything about our company because, especially if it's our company, it's our baby. We think it's amazing. So we want to put all the information in there, but recipients can only receive so many pieces of information at one time. So you want to streamline your information, make it very clear, and not sort of send out lots of different messages all over the place. So this is an example of a streamlined messaging hierarchy that we did. And last but certainly not least is, where do you tell them? So your channel plan or your connections plan. So you have something to tell someone, you develop a message, and now you need a medium. So this could be, do I email them? Do I put it on social media? Do I take out a newspaper ad? Do I need a television ad? And all of those different mediums have different benefits for different customers, but knowing what you're telling and who you're telling it to should dictate where you tell them. Quickly, I had someone who was a psychiatrist come to me, and she wanted me to set up a Facebook page for her. And I, just kind of sort of had to tell her, like, I don't think that your customers want to broadcast to the world. Like, this is a very sensitive thing here that you're advertising. And I'm not sure that that's the best place to advertise it. And so we found different ways that she could communicate to the folks that she needed to be out there helping. But that wasn't an appropriate medium for the service that she was offering, if that's an example that you can understand. The next stage, really quickly, number 6, is that you take from that and create tactics based on all of those 4 different pieces, and you test them. So this is just showcasing lots of different tactics, all the things I just mentioned, and you test them. Small scale pilots. So I would not advise that you take your entire marketing budget and throw it against one thing on day one. You should test things. In these days, you have quite a bit of technology. You can do A/B testing, you can test graphics. You have lots of analytics that come from lots of digital mediums, and you should test them. And most important, as Renita talked about with failure and all of these other things, you need to learn. So these are some faces of some folks that are learning, right? Like, babies are always learning things, and sometimes you're surprised, wow, that worked on the first time. Yes, let's do more of that. Sometimes you're disappointed, like, man, I really wanted that to work. I really liked television ads. Like, it was really fun to make it, but it didn't work. So I guess I got to stop doing that. So that learning is the most important part of this testing process, because if you don't learn, you're destined to do the same thing over and over again that may or may not be working for you. So I wanted to point that out. It's not just test, but test and learn. Be clear with yourself about what's not working. Then scale. Take the few items that are working and just completely blow out the ones that are. That will help you make sure that your ROI is extremely positive. And last but certainly not least, evolve. So as we talked about, what's going on, how do you make your money, what's your business objective, those things can change on an ongoing basis. A business is a living, breathing organism. It's a people, it's got assets, there's money that's coming in and out. So you may have a partner today that you don't have tomorrow. You may have an objective today that changes tomorrow. As your objectives change, as your business models change, as your marketplace changes, make sure that you are on a regular basis, not an ongoing basis, on a regular basis, making sure that you take a look at your marketing plan and update it as your business is changing so that it would be appropriate for the business that we're in. All right. Last but certainly not least, for you all, I've put a link here to an ebook that goes more into how to generate leads for your business. So it says 30 tips and tricks to generate leads, which as you launch your company, you will need leads that become customers. So it's there, and I think if you guys sign in, I can email you out the link as well as we follow up with you after the meeting.